What's going on? It's your boy Ack Reacher with an In the Trenches news episode of the Jab Jamboree, produced by the W.B.C. Executive produced by the FBK, which is the Full Berserker Clan. I'm your host, Ack Reacher, and I never steer you wrong. So we're gonna be talking about the title of this one basically is the W.B.C. declares Canelo the franchise champion and elevates Charlo to the full champion. The W.B.C. rules state and Rule 3.26 of the W.B.C. rules, the franchise champion is a special distinction granted by the W.B.C. and their current champion, depending, on the weight division. Now, my only question is this before I continue on. Where was this special distinction for Deontay Wilder? Where was this for Gary Russell? That's my only question to the W.B.C., man. That's my only question to y'all. Okay. And this is granted to you if 2/3 of the votes of the Board of Governors designate this in each weight class. Basically, they, the Board of Governors, of the WBC, they determine, how this goes, how this works, and stuff like that. It also states that the franchise champion shall enjoy special status, but has to respect his or her mandatory obligations holding multiple belts. So if the champion is holding multiple belts and things like that, they're going to have to respect, the WBC, even though they, all the sanctioning bodies is going to have to come together and work together and respect their mandatory positions depending on the time frame, because they could still considering this franchise championship a belt. The franchise champion will be designated and as the emeritus champion once the boxing champion that is elected the franchise champion retires. So basically, you're gonna represent, you're gonna be like an emeritus for the WBC after you retire, which is pretty dope. Meaning to me, you gonna basically have a retirement check. That's kind of good. The franchise champion will fight according to WBC regulations that will govern under traditional WBC rules. So just because you're the franchise champion doesn't mean that you're not going to have to follow the franchise rules. You're going to have to follow those rules. They're still going to be under the regular WBC rules. And the franchise champion will have 2 social responsibility events that they'll have to do yearly. Each year they got 2 social responsibility events that they have to help the WBC out with if you're the franchise champion. I wonder what that is. I don't know. The franchise champion will be recognized in their division or divisions, because Canelo, and that's good that they pointed that out, that the WBC franchise champion will be a champ in their division or divisions, because Canelo competes technically in 2 divisions. He competes at middleweight and super middleweight, which is 160 and 168 for the slight less educated when it comes to boxing. The franchise WBC champions may be awarded a diamond belt in a fight, but if the franchise champion loses, they don't necessarily lose their status, but they don't win the diamond belt that night. The person that beat them that night will get the diamond belt, and they also may be considered a mandatory contender of that particular division that they fought the franchise champion for. So basically, let's just say that you randomly just want to fight a franchise champion. That shit could put you in position to probably skip over somebody that's been the mandatory for a year. It's possible. It says it in the rules. So I just wanted to, kind of briefly explain to you the special distinction of the franchise champion. I think that this is completely bogus. It's to try to satisfy Canelo. It's satisfying Canelo, reason being because Canelo didn't take the fight with Jermall Charlo. If you are a reasonable person, I'm gonna go out on this note. If you don't dislike the video, don't be a female, don't even comment. Just listen. I just want you to listen. If you are a Canelo fan, you have to ask yourself truthfully this: why did not Canelo take the fight? It doesn't matter if they elevated him to the franchise champion. Him being elevated as the franchise champion should show you that he didn't want to fight Jermall Charlo at all. Jermall Charlo stated that he wants those fights. Canelo never once said that he wanted Jermall Charlo. And I dare you to point out the footage where he ever said it himself. He never said that he wanted it. He never wanted to fight. This is another way of him. And he relinquished his belt even easier than he did with Triple G. He put up a fight with Triple G. He just straight up relinquished his belt and said he wasn't going to fight Jermall Charlo. So they made up a whole new... We never heard about a franchise champion at all. So stop acting like y'all knew about this. Nobody had knew about this before. This is something brand new that they made up to specifically appease Canelo's rage because he had to give up the belt. And that's the truth of the matter. He did not want to fight Jermall Charlo. He is no longer the W.B.C. champion. He is only the IBF and the Super WBA champion. So Canelo, to me, is straight up and down a ducker. And we have to be real and we have to be honest about this. It's the second time he ducked somebody. He ducked Triple G the first time so that he didn't have to fight Triple G. So that he could fight Triple G when he wanted to. That is ducking. If you was going to fight him, you might as well have just fought him anyway to look better. But you're really not going to fight Jermall Charlo. So that's basically all I have to say about that. If you're a realistic person, you know what I mean, you would have to be real because Jermall Charlo is the WBC champion, whether you like it or not. They had to do that. Jermall Charlo sat and waited around for Triple G and Canelo the first time. Then he had to sit around and wait for Canelo to get the test results back so that he could get his license granted again. Wait for his 6 months because he got suspended. And then he had to wait for that second fight. So Charlo really deserved this. He waited around patiently. He could have went another route and went to another sanctioning body. They had to give him that belt because he was waiting for the fight with Canelo. And while he was waiting to see what Canelo was trying to do with the Danny Jacobs thing, he still waited. He still waited. He waited. And then in the meanwhile, Triple G was complaining about the second fight, knowing that he really did lose. But he still complained about it anyway. So they said, fight Charlo, and you will definitely have a shot to that title. Charlo said, okay, I'm down. Triple G didn't want to do that. Nobody wants to fight Charlo. When are y'all motherfuckers going to realize that? Now I want to see where Andre is at because my man got a belt. This was your boy Ak Reacher with an In the Trenches episode of the Jab Jamboree, reporting my news. Shout out to the LDBC and the full Berserker clan. You know what I mean? We are the highest form of human evolution.